Everyone, it's Tanny Games here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my Christmas town speed build. So this I really wanted to set up as a proper town. Like I really wanted it to have that town-like feel. I wanted to include houses. I wanted to include shops or buildings, you know, that kind of thing. So this is my build. You could certainly take inspiration for this for your marketplace dream snap challenges. I know I will be doing something very similar for my own market dream snap challenge. I'll do some tweaks and changes because obviously when it comes to showcasing the market, you kind of really have to get as much as possible in one space. By that I just mean like this build you'll see towards the end is quite spaced out, whereas I feel like there's lots of details that I'd want to include in a dream snap because you've got a limited point of view. So yeah, I'd change it up a little bit for a dream snap. Now this speed build is going to be a bit different than my usual speed builds because there's no walkthrough, and you will see why at the end. In fact, you can probably guess why there won't be a walkthrough towards the end. So I do apologise for that. I will try and talk you through some of my decision making process and things like that through this video. One of them being this central fountain. I really wanted to include it. I loved Oscar's video where he alternated some red bushes in to give a Christmassy feel, and then I found out that those red bushes could not overlap with the fountain, which is a bit unusual because the typical foliage bushes we have, you can overlap, and you'll see that I'll have done that. So then I was like, okay, rethink the plan, rethink the strategy, and I was like, okay, let's try out the hedges that we got recently. And then I couldn't get the shape right because this circle fountain just isn't equal. I couldn't get it to look right. So I spend ages on this fountain and ultimately it does not get kept. So yeah, make of that what you will. But yeah, I don't keep it in the end. I get so frustrated with it. I don't know how long I spent on this segment and I don't even end up keeping it. I couldn't get it to look right. It's one of those things. It's a shame because I think it could be a really nice centerpiece. But because of the fact that, you know, it removes the path from underneath it, because of the fact that it doesn't align with anything, it just caused so much issue. So I just gave up on it in the end and was like, no, not doing it. So I do build this sort of town setup. We have what I would class as like the town hall in the background. I do also use the park entryways to kind of extend that building space. We do use, of course, the recent market stalls as well. I just felt like they made the most sense in terms of additions for this build for a Christmas market, effectively. I do use the Christmas tree as the centerpiece. I end up going for that in the end. I figured that was the best thing you could do, and I really wanted to utilize the red bushes just because of what I'd seen from when Oscar's Cozy Corner did it. You know, he utilised those red bushes as almost like a Christmassy bush, and I really wanted to try that. It seemed like such a good idea. So, and then this is just me trying to place things a bit equally and struggling with it naturally, unsurprisingly, kind of thing. I usually tend to. And then I did surround it with these illuminated bushes because I do like these. I think they are quite nice. It's a shame that they don't join up. This is something that I've complained about with items before, though. I do really wish that they would put the footprint full within the square. So I don't remember what size it is, but if it's like 2x5, what they'll do is they'll actually cut off the hedge before it reaches the end, and then that means you can't join things, and it's such a simple fix. to a degree, such simple, like, it still requires work. I don't want to undermine the work that developers put in, but it's not like, you know, all it needs to be done is to have it be resized effectively. That's all it needs. I do also use Flynn's Tavern item. It just gave me the Christmas market vibes, that rustic wooden kind of setup, and at least in the Christmas markets here in Germany, I'm sure they do it at other Christmas markets around the world. We have a lot of like drink stalls where they'll sell different kinds of drinks, like an Aya liqueur kind of drink. I forget what it's called. They'll also sell things like Glühwein and the like. You know, you'll get lots of kind of like fruit based drinks and warm drinks and stuff like that, you know, hot chocolates and the like. And we'll usually go to one of those when we go to the Christmas market, and we'll have a few of those drinks. I forget what the stuff is that we get. We end up putting Calvados in it or something. I don't even know what that is. Don't ask me what it is. We just drink it, or at least I just follow along with the crowd. The crowd is my family, by the way. I just want to state that. It's the family, the German family. So yeah, I just thought I needed a kind of drinks market set up. I was of course going to eventually decorate it with some drinking items and things like that. I do extend this town build further and further and further as the build goes on, because I realised that I needed more room than I initially planned. There's lots of items that get thrown about all over the place because I'm like, oh, I need to move this to place this and this and this. But I like having a visual reference for things, because otherwise I sometimes find I forget about items to decorate with. So before I filmed this, I spent a bit of time going through my inventory just to see what items I had, because otherwise I'd literally forget about them. Like, if I didn't pull out those pretzel stands, I wouldn't have used them in this build because I wouldn't have thought of them. But because I pulled them out specifically, it gave me an opportunity to use them, and I just felt something about them felt very fitting for a Christmas market kind of thing. So I do end up using those as well. I did want to try and use the kind of like the star shaped entryway kind of banner, the like illuminated festive set. I forget what it's called. But in the end, I didn't use it because I realized I couldn't connect one of the other archways on the side kind of thing. So I end up just placing that towards the town hall kind of location. Of course, I wanted to do a setup for meeting Santa Claus, so that is what I do here. Again, one of those things where I say, like, I like to pull stuff out so I can use it. One thing I remembered after kind of doing this build was that I wanted to include the reindeer, the illuminated reindeer. And of course, because I didn't have them pulled out, I didn't use them, but I wanted to put them near Santa's sleigh as well. And as I said, I didn't use them in the end. I did not use them because they weren't there. So this is why sometimes I think it's helpful to have a visual frame of items to kind of work with, because I do think it does make it a bit easier when you're trying to decorate, because it can be hard to remember all the items we have in game. There are so many of them that, yeah, it is a bit difficult. So I do like to pull out some items to begin with, because I do think it makes the whole process a bit easier. So you'll see that I surround this town square with these lit up banners. It just reminds me so much of being at home in the UK. I'm sure it's like it in other places around the world as well, but we'll often have our high streets and stuff like that decorated with banners of lights kind of joining from shop to shop, you know, across walkways and the like. So I really wanted to have that feel, but I knew it wouldn't work kind of with this layout to just have it running down the middle. So I use it more as like a border, a square border, so to speak. That's what I end up doing. So yeah, that's what I use there. I do use the Royal Vizier's chair actually for Santa's chair. I just thought it looked kind of very plush and cozy, and I figured Santa deserved that. Of all people, Santa deserves it. Um, I do move these houses around quite a lot. I wasn't too sure of the initial layout, so I do swap stuff around quite a lot. I do. I spend ages moving items so I can place the Frosty Fortress into this one corner here because I wanted to surround it with trees, and then I find out that this space is actually smaller than the space it was originally in, so it just gets moved back. It just gets moved back. The plan was foiled. I really should have worked out the size, spacing and layout, but I wanted to have like a foresty area. Like I was trying to think of like towns and stuff like that, how I know you usually get some kind of outskirts with like the woods or, you know, a large park and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to have that feel, but obviously I didn't account for sizing and spacing and things like that. Um, which I probably should have done. I probably should have done that. And then I try and what I end up doing is I make a side for like the homes, and then on the other side I set up something which I would consider like shops or stores and stuff like that. Perhaps like a little cafe setup. I hadn't finalized what I was going to use those stores for and the like, so they were just kind of, I just knew they were going to be more of the business stores compared to the sort of residential homes and the like. I do also eventually give the houses their own little gardens. I figure they deserve their own little gardens. You know, at least it's normal for me that, you know, most homes will have a front garden. They'll probably have a back garden and stuff like that. Like, unless you're living in like flats and stuff, which is a different matter. So I wanted to make sure that I did include little gardens for them as well. And then it was also my plan to utilize the sort of the Oswald train tracks. I wanted to place down Tiana's little train cart. I just love using that item, and I think it's just so fitting for any kind of like city build. Like I think of like the cities and stuff in the UK. Like I think of Nottingham and the like, and kind of thinking of how they have like the little tram tracks in the center and stuff. Like I know not everywhere has them, but yeah, it kind of gave me those vibes. So I was like, okay, well, we need the tram tracks and stuff. Of course, I know, don't comment about the fact that this runs into a town square building. Logically, if I'd have planned stuff out better, it would run behind the town square building. Okay, learn from my mistakes here. You know, plan out your areas. You know, space them out more efficiently. Yeah, so I kind of did mess up in that regard. That was definitely something that yeah, I didn't want to have the train tracks look like they run into the building, but I was like, do you know what, maybe it just encircles and goes towards the back end. Maybe those two buildings on the right are not town hall buildings, but maybe they're like train stations, and that's where they park up. And you know, I could have maybe brought the loop round to the front. No, because there's another building that would obstruct that. Never mind, I couldn't have even done that. Again, just plan your builds out, guys. Don't make my mistakes. I do use two different fences as well for the houses, because I was thinking in reality, that's what it's like. Like, my fence is different from my neighbour's fence. From both of them and stuff like that, and that just seems normal to me. You might have neighbours that have similar sort of fences, or maybe you might have a neighbour who says, hey, I want to change my fencing, so can I change yours to have it all matching? Like, there are cases like that, but like, I just think generally most houses will have their own style of fence kind of thing. So I did mismatch them, and that was intentional and the like. I also do in the top corner of the map, I do kind of like a, I don't want to call it a park area, but just sort of like a natural area, like a not built up area. And then that's for kind of like the ice rink and the igloo and things like that. So I did also want to make use of the ice rink, and it really bothers me that you place the ice rink down, and if you place it on top of pathing, it gets rid of the pathing. Otherwise, I would have used the ice rink more centrally. I was really happy when we were getting an ice rink item, when we got it in the Royal Winter Star path, and then I was so devastated to find out you couldn't put it on paths. Because before we had that ice rink item, I actually went and created my own ice rink rugs, like even with like little scratch marks from the ice skates and the like. And I had that up in my Frosted Heights, but then yeah, the ice rink was going to replace it, and then it turned out it couldn't replace it at all. I was so devastated. Um, so hopefully at some point they do give us an ice rink item that we can actually place on pathing, so we could have it set up, because like I'm just familiar with going to Christmas markets and they'll often have like mini ice rinks set up, so I'm kind of like, I need that as an item. I hate that you can't run pathing under so many different things. It really bothers me sometimes. Like, so frustrating in decorating. I do spend a bit of time debating about what fountain to use as the centerpiece here. I was a bit worried that this fountain was too high, but I wanted something that looked elegant and grand enough, and I was kind of thinking, well, you need a statement centerpiece because the Christmas tree wouldn't always be there. So I was kind of thinking, if the Christmas tree wouldn't always be there, then there would be something else kind of in that square, maybe just a plain grassy area. So there needs to be a centerpiece. So I do eventually go for the larger fountain in the end, just because I was like, okay, that's what fits best. I do end up using quite a few of the different Christmas wreath lights as well. I use them in various sections. I would have loved to have shown this off in the night, because I bet with all the lighting it would have looked really magical and things like that. I was so excited to get a bit of an evening tour with this area done. I would have thought, you know, with all these lights and stuff, like I was really into the festive spirit during this build. I really enjoyed it, and I really felt like I was really proud of it. Let's just say I was so proud of this build and how it turned out. I was just, yeah, I was like, this is going to be magical. This will be exactly what I kind of wanted to create. Yeah, so I was very disappointed with how things turned out in the end, ultimately. Um, yeah, this is me setting up some tables as well outside of Belle's. I want to say like library kind of thing, but I was just like, maybe it's an area for drinking a coffee. Maybe it's like a coffee shop and a bookshop kind of thing combined. That was kind of my vision for that area. I do also use these new items from the DLC. They're like giant kind of like, they look like snow plants. They look kind of icicle-esque, and I was like, they're perfect. I have to include them. I have to include them. And then I just go around doing a few finishing touches, clearing away some items. I knew there was going to be little details I would have to do, but I wanted to walk around the space and get an idea of what I needed to place down in terms of food and smaller bits of decor and foliage and things like that. So I do clear up some of the main things, then go out of furniture mode. And then this is when the disaster struck. It took so long for me to come out of furniture mode. I was a bit worried that my game had crashed. I was really anxious about it. I should have known at this point that something wrong was happening. I mean, I guess I kind of thought something wrong was happening. I kind of knew that, yeah, it was just taking so long. And then when I came out of furniture mode and things like that, just everything flashed before my eyes, everything changed, and I just kind of knew. I knew that everything I'd done for over the past hour or so was gone, and I was just devastated, and I was like, okay, see how much has changed. And then I'm like, everything. I'm like, this is like how it was in the beginning. It's saved nothing, and I was devastated. Absolutely devastated. So unfortunately there is no walkthrough for this build, but I hope at least you got a rough idea of how it was set up in case you wanted to recreate it. Just make sure that if you do recreate it, you jump out of furniture mode fairly often, so as not to lose your progress. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys!